Sitting here with Michael Steinau, or we could call you Michael Steinau, whatever we want, for our second talk. When did we do our first talk?
Great to see you again.
Yes.
Yes.
Same here.
Yeah, I had a good feeling when we had our first talk. So I think it's half a year ago, something like that.
Yeah. And mostly I talk with people about awakening. That's in English even a bigger word than in Dutch. In Dutch we call it verlichting. Eh?
Yeah. I think the awakening when we say it in English, verlichting, it's enlightenment.
Enlightenment. Yeah. But what do those words mean to you? Let's start with awakening.
If it's okay for you, I start with enlightenment.
Okay.
Yes, because that's. I think you're right about that. That's a big word, and of course, in all the traditions, you see that word enlightenment that they use that. What it means for me is. There is something that doesn't come and doesn't go. For example, if I see my body is something which has a starting point and there is a finishing point when I die. So, and everything what we see has a beginning and an ending. And for me, enlightenment means that which has no beginning and no ending. And we can discover that. Because if you know how to look, where to look, then you can see that there is something which is not starting and not ending.
And that's that big secret every spiritual seeker is looking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you come with awakening, because if you recognize that, you awaken to that state of mind. Because it's... the difficult thing with enlightenment is that you cannot see it. You cannot touch it, you cannot hold it.
Describe it.
You can not describe it. You can give words, of course, which we do now, which are signposts, but the words are not what we described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like, I once heard someone tell me, trying to describe how an orange tastes. You can say it's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit sour, but the taste itself, you cannot capture in words.
No, it's the same thing when you like to learn swim. You can read in books how to learn to swim. You can read the description of learn to swim. But when you're actually in the water, then you have that experience for yourself. And that's quite different from what you thought about it. Yeah.
The question that always pops up with me is, how come not everybody everywhere all over the planet is searching for this? Are we the chosen few? Are we open to this? How come?
Yeah, we are the chosen few.
The blessed ones.
We are the blessed ones. I guess it depends how you look on it. Because you say, why is not everybody involved in this? Is it for the fewer ones who can do this? But my feeling is, everybody is searching for enlightenment. Yeah.
In one way or another?
In one way or another. Because I think, for example, enlightenment is about a kind of happiness. And of course, when we think about happiness, we always have to make the connection that it has to be something. For example, when I have a new car, I feel happy. Or when I have a good teacher, I feel happy. Or I have a nice girlfriend, I feel happy. So I think everybody is searching for happiness, one way or another.
Yeah.
And I think happiness has something to do with enlightenment, because if you are in when you have the realized enlightenment, I think there's a kind of happiness that is not achieved.
Yeah, it's not dependent on circumstances.
It's not dependent on circumstances. And I think that kind of happiness everybody is searching for. Because I think everybody knows within themselves that that kind of happiness is existing. But if you don't know where to look, you try to find it in circumstances, you try to find it in persons, try to find it in improvement, whatever.
Even in spirituality.
Even in spirituality, yeah.
I used to listen to Eckhart Tolle tapes for about a year, almost every day.
Yeah.
It brought me to that happy place.
Yeah.
But when I didn't have any Eckhart Tolle left to listen to, it was gone.
It's great that you say that, because I think the kind of happiness we mostly focus on is the happiness which has a beginning and which has an ending.
Yeah.
So if something makes me happy, then that happiness has a beginning. And of course, like everything which has a starting point, it will end someday.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference between real happiness and achieved happiness.
Yeah. And should we detach then from the worldly happiness, or how does that work for you? Or can it coexist at the same time?
I think it does coexist.
Yeah?
Yeah, but because there's nothing wrong. For example, when we met downstairs before this interview, I saw you, and because of our last interview, I was happy to see you.
Yeah.
And of course, I know that happiness has a short
lifespan.
Yeah, short lifespan, because when you leave, then that happy feeling is going away too. But I think there's nothing wrong with that. But if my happiness or my good feeling depends on seeing you, then I have to call you, when can we meet again, to make me feel happy.
Yeah.
And so then something goes wrong, I guess.
Yeah.
And wrong is not a good word, but I don't know a better word in English. Mm-hmm. But that kind of happiness is there. There are a lot of short-term happiness moments.
Yeah. And that lasting happiness, which we named in the beginning of the interview, Enlightenment. You say there are tricks or ways to discover that.
Yeah.
Where can we start?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think to give a little bit of background, for example, in Buddhism, they have the term Buddha mind. In Buddhism, they say everything is mind, and mind is not your thinking. Mind is where the thinking appears. So your mind is the thinker, your mind is the feeler, your mind is the perceiver. And of course you have a conditioned mind. For example, when you see something which disturbs you, you have a certain pattern, and that pattern that is conditioned from your earlier experiences. Mm-hmm. But of course, there's also within that mind there is something that is free of that, and they call it Buddha mind. And also they say that kind of Buddha mind that is already enlightened, because it was already there before your personality started. Yeah. And it's always there. So if you are able to make contact with that Buddha nature which is already there, so you are already enlightened, if you can see that, then of course there is freedom, and of course there is happiness. Now we come back to your question, how can you do that? Yeah. Okay.
Discover the Buddha mind.
Let me ask you one question. Can you be, let's do an experiment, okay? Yeah. Can you try to, just for a few seconds, not to be aware?
Not to be aware?
Yeah. Try to be, for a few seconds, not to be aware.
It's difficult. Yeah. Or is it impossible?
You tell me, because it's your experience.
Well, try not to be aware. I'm trying very hard. I find it difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is difficult?
Yeah, not to notice that I'm sitting on a chair, that there are people talking on the hallway, that there's light coming in from the window. It's difficult to shut your. I could shut my eyes and shut my ears, but
Yeah, but then of course you would be aware that you shut your eyes and shut your ears.
Yeah.
So what happens now if you realize it's not possible?
Yeah, not possible to be not aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens to you?
What happens?
Because I see something.
Yeah.
You're a little bit searching.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just wondering what that would be like, not being aware. I can remember this from my childhood. I could sometimes start staring or glazing.
Yeah.
And then someone said, hey, come back or something like that. So I can, maybe it points to that.
Yeah, maybe, but of course maybe you're not aware of something, but you were still aware.
Yeah.
Because even you, when looking back, you could tell for yourself, okay, I was gazing.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my statement is, it's not possible to be not aware.
Yeah. You're always aware.
You're always aware. So this kind of awareness, which we talk about, this is the Buddha nature, that has no starting and no ending. It is constantly present.
Yeah. Effortless.
Effortless.
Yeah.
Because you can do anything to get rid of it, and you can do nothing to
switch it on.
Yeah. So there's no switch on, on-off switch.
Yeah, not like a light button. Yeah. Okay. And what does that tell me? Am I that awareness then, or?
The interesting thing from this point is that you could tell for this awareness, which we talk about right now, and of course there are a lot of more angles to it, but you could say it's not moving. It's not changing.
Yeah.
It could not, because if it has a beginning and an ending, it would be changing.
Yeah.
So this is unmoving, unchanging, present. And there's also, I hope you can recognize that, there's also a knowing quality in this.
A knowing quality. Yeah.
What we call aware.
Yeah. That's a great way of discovering. Yeah, you could call it something, but it's not something.
It's not something.
No.
We could easily, because if I try and I see that you recognize something, but it's not something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did these conversations earlier. I have to watch out that I'm not firing all kinds of knowledge about this, which I heard through the years. You know, I heard people tell me that it's the blank sheet of paper where the world is painted on, or it is the possibility to even have a world. Is there any description you can give to it except from awareness or being aware?
Yeah, first of all, I think, of course, all those descriptions are the signposts to this point.
Yeah.
And I think the name is not so important. We could call it awareness, I also call it Buddha mind. But it is something which is there from the beginning. And it's just aware. And it has also a knowing quality, like we said. So that means that within it, everything can appear.
And disappear.
And disappear.
Yeah.
So that are the things that come and go. So, of course, now we make a distinction between the sheet of paper, like you said, and something which appear on that sheet of paper. We could also say this awareness which we talk about is like the mirror.
A mirror.
Yeah. The mirror has the quality that everything can appear in the mirror.
Yeah. But it doesn't get touched by it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's also, we could not also not take those things apart.
Ah. Yeah.
So what we could see in a mirror is, this week on Facebook I posted a film, and it was a little cat, and that cat was in front of the mirror, and it saw itself. So it was aware, but it did not recognize, oh, that's me. So it started to play
with itself.
With itself.
In the mirror, yeah.
And I think that's what is happening. Everything is a play of awareness. Awareness playing with awareness.
Yeah.
And if you can recognize that, then you can see that what appears in awareness is also not really existing.
Because it's a reflection of awareness?
It's kind of a reflection. It's a reflection of awareness.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's a very reassuring way of seeing things.
Yeah.
Because as a child I used to stay away. That's mine, or that's mine, and that's me. But is that's so much effort that goes into
exactly
making all those things real and owning them.
Yes, I think as you were saying it great. We make them real. And because we think what we see with our eyes or hear with our ears, because we think it is real, it's our cage. Because we make it into something.
Yeah. Instead of seeing for what it is.
Yeah. What it is everything comes and goes.
It reminds me of the comparison that's made a lot about the ocean, the sea, and the waves.
And the waves, yeah.
Yeah.
Or for example, you could say the sky and the clouds.
And the clouds, yeah.
And the weather.
Yeah.
And then you say that when you look to the sky, there is an unchanging quality because it's always blue.
Hmm.
Of course, not at night, but just to make the analogy.
Yeah.
It's always blue. And whatever appears on the sky, it doesn't affect the sky itself.
Yeah.
Or whatever appears in the mirror doesn't affect the mirror.
No.
Yeah.
The biggest wars, the beautiful romances, the beautiful birds,
exactly.
ugly dead bodies, everything can appear in it and disappears.
Yeah. And when you recognize this, because you also bring this up, does it make you happy?
Yeah, of course. Oh, not of course. Yeah, at this moment it makes me happy because there's a lot of burden that falls off you because
without effort.
Yeah,
without achievement.
Yeah.
And I think this is the really important thing, Patrick. That this is a kind of happiness you don't have to achieve. You don't have to accomplish. You just have to see, not with your eyes, but you have to see it. Okay, there is no really, nothing is really solid. It maybe it feels solid, but it isn't, because it comes and goes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly a kind of happy feeling is coming.
Yeah. That's nice.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Nice is too small a word. Yeah.
No, I think it's nice, but I think this is so easy.
Yeah.
And of course, now we are talking about this, and that's one thing. But in your daily life, realize this every moment. That's hard to do.
Yeah. And do you give people practices to remind yourself of this, or to rediscover this, or?
Yeah, that's what I do. I give retreats, I give training, and also do sessions. And actually it's always about this, that the world as it appears is not how it is. For example, when you sit there's an experience here, in your mind, And of course, what you do is you say, oh, I see Michael. You think actually, I guess, because in our conditioned way we do, that it is your eyes who see me.
Yeah.
But eyes cannot see.
No?
No. No.
What do eyes do then?
They reflect.
Yeah.
And even that's really great. This isn't taught in Buddhism 2,500 years ago already, but even our scientists now, they say the same thing. Because your eyes, it has what we call eye consciousness in it. It has in it.
Yeah.
So I'm not so technical about this, but what really comes into the eye is light and a blurry vision. So that comes to the eye consciousness. But then it goes into your mind, and there is added a feeling. There is added interpretation.
Sort of translation.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also everything which happened before with that same so-called object that you think to see is added. For example, if there is something falling on your eye and you interpret it as a black dog, of course all your former experience with black dogs come into that moment. Yeah. It goes really quickly. And then in its form, and then a picture appears in the mirror. Yeah. A picture appears in your mind. And then so you see with your mind.
Yeah. Really amazes me because I talked to a friend of mine who is visually disabled, and he says he sees, but he sees in I don't know if in atmospheres, in spheres. If that is the right English word. Yeah. Like we taste the atmosphere when we come into a room. That's his way of seeing. Yeah. Yeah.
And the same goes with hearing. The same goes with the tongue.
Tasting.
Yeah, with the smell, with the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine that at this time, when we sit here, uncountless things pop in. Yeah. And it's making pictures in your mind. And I did once a dark retreat.
A dark retreat?
Yeah, it's called dark retreat. It was really amazing for myself because you sit a few days. You can do it as long as you want.
How long did you do it?
I did it 84 hours.
2 days.
So that's a kind of minimum. And I just did it last year, so it was for me new. I want to try it.
Yeah.
And what happened was it was totally dark. And in the beginning you don't see anything at all. And you do a kind of practice and whatnot, meditation. And it's really funny because I also decided not to eat because you can also do a dark retreat for longer days, and then they bring you breakfast, they bring you lunch, they bring you dinner. So then you have, of course, a kind of awareness of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I told them not to disturb me with food. I just sit there for 48 hours, which is a long time. I mean, 2 days it goes quickly, but when you sit on your own and nothing,
no impulses,
then it's a long time.
And what happened?
And then after, I don't know after what time, of course, but then I started to see things. I saw light, I saw images, and I thought, wow, how can it happen?
Yeah, they're not here.
They're not here, but I see them. And then I don't know why I did it, but I thought, okay, I don't want to see it. So what I did was I put my hands before my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Still there.
Still the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I really recognize, okay, this is my mind.
Fantasizing.
Whatever.
Projecting.
I think that's a better word. But of course, it's really funny. It's also a fantasy.
Yeah.
because this is also fantasy. You could call it fantasy. Why not?
Well, yeah.
Or dream.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
mind-made.
Yeah, mind-made.
Yeah.
We live in a mind-made world.
Yeah.
And if really, it's really. I saw a few years ago a documentary, because we're talking about now. There's input, and that input within your mind, it's projecting. But if a mouse would walk here,
Mm-hmm.
he has the same input,
Yeah.
same light,
Yeah.
same blurry
Mm-hmm.
things, but different
Interpretation.
different
Yeah.
interpretation. And if there is a bee, is that a good word?
Yeah.
Bee flying here. I saw that. I don't know how they managed to film that.
Mm-hmm.
But the mind from the mind projection of a bee is totally different. Much more colors,
Yeah.
different shapes, different forms.
Yeah.
So now we have a bee, we have a mouse, we have a human, Patrick,
Yeah, yeah.
Michael. Same input,
Different world.
different world.
Yeah. So you couldn't say there's one objective world then.
Sorry, there's
There's no
no
objective.
objective. Exactly, that is what. Yeah.
And even now, I see a different world than that you see, because I see the painting on the wall, you see the plant next to me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And even if we were sitting
in the same
next to each other, we
Yeah.
would have the same visual,
Yeah.
because it's humans have a kind of same visual
Experience.
projection.
Yeah.
And mouse, all the mice they have
Yeah.
too, all the bees they have too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they call karmic vision.
Mhm.
The form where you are born into. This is the human form. It has already a kind of
Imprint.
imprint.
Yeah.
Exactly, good word. But of course, your how do you say in English? Believing.
Experience. No, that's not a good word. The way we
interpret it, and
Yeah.
also the way we experience it.
Experience,
Yeah, it will be different.
Yeah.
This wall, which you see here behind me, has a different meaning for me than it has for you. Because I work here, for example.
Yeah, you've seen this wall.
Yeah, and I see when I looked at it,
Yeah.
maybe a picture of a patient, of a client
Yeah.
is coming.
Yeah.
I say patient because I was physiotherapist a long time ago.
Okay.
Sometimes I use that word. But a client, I see a face, and then a kind of association is coming.
Yeah.
So it's totally, you and I are not in the same world.
And for the man who built this wall, or the different men, they can remember. Oh, that's the stone we had to replace, or
Yeah.
that's the place where the
Yeah.
power cables run. And
Yeah, exactly.
So
Totally different
Yeah.
meaning.
yeah.
So there is no objective world, and that is really mind-blowing if you really let that in, because we think that we are living in this world.
That's not so.
No, because it's your world.
So it's living inside of me.
Yeah, but not in your body. Your body is also in
Yeah.
your mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Your mind is not in your body.
Well, hold on. Hold on. Very interesting things. First thing, so the world is an appearance inside that...
Inside your mind.
Inside my mind. Okay. And it's different for each and every living conscious creature on the planet.
There's some what we already talked about, the karmic vision. The humans, they have a similar kind of interpretation,
Yeah.
projecting,
Yeah.
but not the interpretation. The projecting is the same. I have to look a little bit for my English.
Mm-hmm.
But the interpretation within that projection is for no one the same. So we have uncountless worlds,
Wow.
which all don't exist. They only exist in your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, when you look a little bit deeper into that, is that whatever appears in the mind, you could still say, oh, but then it exists in the mind
Mm-hmm.
as something.
Yeah.
But then we come back to our earlier,
Experiment. Yeah.
which showed us that there is nothing solid existing.
Yeah.
When you have a nice walk in when it's dark, the moon is shining. You go with your girlfriend to Arnhem, to Sonsbeek Park. You walk. The water is very clear. Then you see the moon in the water.
Yeah.
Do you go into the water
to grab the moon?
To grab the moon?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, because it's a reflection. It's not.
It's a reflection.
It's not really there.
It's not really there.
No.
Yeah. So true happiness. We come back to happiness and to enlightenment.
Yeah.
True happiness is to see that everything is like that.
Like the reflection of the moon in the river or in the sea.
Something appears in the mirror.
Yeah.
But it's not really a thing.
An appearance.
It's an appearance.
Yeah. And it reminds me of that. We also we know that, and then immediately we forget about that.
Yeah.
Let's say we're watching a play on stage. The people, or I'm watching a TV series now, a great TV series called The 100 on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I know the series.
Oh, that's a great series.
Series, yes.
We're now in season 2, so don't give me any spoilers. But I'm watching this and I believe it. But something inside of me knows they're actors. It's a play.
But you forget it, huh?
I forget it. I want to forget it because I want to go into the emotions of, oh no, he's going to die or she's going to do this.
Yeah.
So that's a way of, but that's interesting.
And that's the same thing.
That's the same thing.
That is how we experience life. We think life is really happening.
Yeah.
In the way it appears. Because we don't say, for example, we talked about it earlier, we could say, oh, there is no wall.
Yeah, that's some non-duality jargon.
Yeah. And of course, I totally understand why they say it, but for now, that wall is still appear in your mind.
Yeah.
And for there, you could say it does not really exist.
Yeah.
But it would not be correct, as far as I can, or it would be absurd to say that nothing is there. There's a lot of appearances.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of experiences. But it's what I call rainbow-like.
Rainbow-like, yeah. You see it, but it's not really there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel it. It feels real.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not real.
And then my neighbor, if I tell, he watches this, and my neighbor is very theoretical. Huh? Whoa, what's the use of knowing this? I can imagine you get that question sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
What's the use for me to know this? What would be your answer then?
I think there's no use.
Except it makes you happy. It makes you happy. That's quite a...
Yeah, and then we come to the point that I think even your neighbor is searching for happiness.
Yeah.
Is searching for freedom.
But he goes to the casino on Friday evening.
Of course.
He thinks...
But that is an experience which comes and goes.
Yeah.
So if he leaves the casino and maybe he won a lot of money, then he maybe...
Yeah, joyful.
Joyful, and it lasts a little bit.
Yeah, a couple of days.
But a couple of days, or if you've done it a lot, was probably only a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you're really interested in who you really are, and if you are really interested in real happiness,
in lasting happiness,
and in lasting happiness, and in real freedom, because if you really see that everything is your mind, then you are also totally free.
Yeah.
Because there is no use, it has no function to grab at things or to distance you from things.
Yeah.
Because if you really see it how it is, then it frees itself.
Yeah.
There's a kind of liberation in it. And for me, that's great. I think our mind is great. If you really can see your mind for what it is, I think there's no greater thing for me than and then you come to awaken, because what they say in all the traditions is, if you really see that, then it's like when you're in the morning, when you had bad dreams in the night, how great it is when you open your eyes and you realize this was just a dream.
Yeah.
There's a kind of relief, there's a kind of happiness. Or maybe not if you had really great dreams,
Yeah.
but it's like that. So awakening is really open your eyes, and I don't mean your physical eyes, but your eyes of awareness.
Yeah.
And for me, that's the use. I'm really interested in real freedom. I'm really interested in real happiness. I'm really interested in the truth. I mean not conventional truth, but the truth about who I am.
Yeah. That's that's I don't have any words for it.
Speechless.
Yeah, you can speechless. Still, I have to act a little bit as if I'm still confused about this, because I can imagine if you hear this for the first time, it brings peace, it brings happiness, but it also can bring confusion.
Of course.
Because everything you were told all those years, you think, whoa. That's why you accompany people who are on this path, because I can imagine people can also get so confused that they have to stop their work or take pills or go into a mental hospital.
Yeah, I think that's true. So we have, I think everybody, and that was what we really earlier talked about, everybody has this enlightened nature within themselves. Mm-hmm. But I think there are a lot of roads, a lot of possibilities to work with that. When we see a river, every river is flowing to a destiny. Yeah. And I think every mind is flowing back to the original source, which is not in time, but in this moment. So, but how you do that? Because as another story, but I come back to this subject. I did once. I told people in a workshop. I had 25 people, and I asked them, if you could do one wish, what would it be? And of course, there are 25 different wishes. One said, okay, I wanted that everybody has something to eat. Other person would win the lottery, and so on. But when we analyzed those wishes, what it would at the end would give some to everybody, that was the happiness. So everybody is already on its way to enlightenment.
Yeah, but some take shortcuts, some take the long way.
Yeah, and I think what we did discuss today is, and there are some more subjects to that, but that's the shortcut. Yeah. But it's not suitable for everybody. Yeah, because everybody has different circumstances, different capacities, and you have to learn to work with that. Every mind is the same, but every mind is also different. And for some people, it would be really bad to tell them that the person they think they are doesn't really exist. The person they think they are is only a projection in their mind. Yeah. Because some people really could get into problems.
Why is that? Because it's such a liberating message. It's too.
Not everybody thinks this is liberating.
No?
Some people think this is crazy. Some people think we are mad. Yeah. Like your neighbor would probably tell, no, those crazy guys.
He lost his mind.
He lost his mind. Yeah. And of course we do.
but
that's liberating.
Yeah.
To lose what was never really there.
Yeah, the illusions.
Yeah, so I think it has to do with capacity. And I don't know why that is, because there's a lot of conditioning in it. And we have a lot of suppressed things within our minds, and if you really, if this liberation is starting off, then all those things they come out.
Yeah.
And if you're not have good, not equipped, is that a good word? Equipped well, if not good tools to work with that.
That can be too much.
That can be too much.
Yeah.
And so we have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the shortcut is not the best. The short way is not the best way.
No?
No, it's just a way.
Yeah. There is no best way.
There is no best way.
Because, as you said, it's different for everyone.
We are heading to enlightenment anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you know that for sure?
As I said, I see everybody is looking for freedom. Everybody is looking for happiness.
Yeah.
Those kinds which they have awareness of.
Yeah.
If you and I didn't know there was something about something like happiness, how could we go for that?
Yeah.
But of course, if we are not recognize that it is already in our mind, then and we think that there is something outside our mind, we start to search there.
Yeah.
And then we get lost.
Even as a spiritual seeker, because
Of course.
you can go to satsang every day today.
Yeah.
I saw satsang agenda.
Yeah.
There's every day a satsang in
Yeah.
Holland these days.
Yeah,
You could easily get lost in that.
totally. Yeah,
I have to go to satsang because it brings me there.
yeah. I think you're totally right.
And
There was a great man, really like his books. His name is Trungpa Rinpoche. He has really a great word for that, and it's called spiritual materialism. And he said, there's no really a big difference for a man whose hobby it is collect cars. And they really have a good feeling because he collects cars. And a spiritual, so-called spiritual man who collects great experiences.
Yeah. Samadhi.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or enlightened experience.
Yeah.
But of course, that experience is also impermanent.
Yeah.
It comes and it goes. So they have a great weekend, or maybe a great retreat, or maybe a great insight. And they're really happy and they really feel great. And of course, it is great that they had that experience. But then they come home or whatever, but that experience has a beginning and an ending.
Yeah.
So it goes away. And it leaves you empty-handed.
Yeah. You're back at the start.
You're back at the start.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is not look outside. We have to look inside. But we don't have to look inside, and then we come back to where you get a little bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
Inside does not mean into your body. Because looking outside for happiness,
Mm-hmm.
or looking inside your body or inside your personality
Mm-hmm.
for happiness, it's the same movement.
Yeah.
And I call them both. You look outside, even if you look
Inside.
within yourself.
You're still looking outside.
Yeah, you have to look within your mind. But then we have to question, where is that mind?
Yeah. Or where is it not?
That's deep. Let me do
Okay. Another experiment.
experiments. You visualize, you can do your eyes open, nobody see, or you can close them, nobody see. You visualize a pizza.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah.
And for the people at home, he has closed his eyes,
Yeah.
but you can still see the pizza.
I can still see the pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost smell it.
Yeah. Where is it?
Yeah. Everywhere I look, the pizza goes with me.
But where is it?
Yeah. It's in.
Can you really say it is there? Can you really find a location?
No. If I could compare it with a film projector, it would be, projected on the screen.
Yeah. But you can't tell where that screen is.
No. I cannot, and I also cannot grab
You
one
cannot
piece of the pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is there, but it has no location.
Yeah.
How great is that?
Yeah. But let's say I want to...
So that's your mind.
Yeah. And if I want to turn this pizza into a real pizza? But
where is that real pizza?
Well...
Where does it appear?
Yeah. That's the distinct... How do you call it? The difference I still make between this pizza I just imagined and the pizza I get when I take my telephone and call the pizzeria.
Yeah, but you make that distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is no distinction.
No, because that distinction, where does it appear?
Again, yeah, here.
In your mind.
Yeah.
And that distinction is like the moon in the water.
Yeah. But still the critical people would say, well, I cannot taste the pizza that is I just imagined, and when I order a pizza I can taste it. But then again you say the taste is inside.
Of course, tasting is the same as, and I won't give the whole sequence, but I told you already, we discussed that, you don't see with your eyes.
Yeah, and I don't taste with my tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I usually do with my students when we work like that is don't go into this analysis if there is a world or not.
No.
Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. We cannot really prove that there is a world outside our mind. We also cannot prove that it is not there.
Yeah.
That's the most open way to look at it. What we can say is that you are the one who experience it.
Yeah, that we know for sure.
That is, and you know this is my mind.
Yeah.
And there you start to work.
Yeah.
And then if you do that a lot, then you will also see that what you call normally solid, even the real physical thing, what we call normally real physical thing, becomes more fluid. That's really amazing.
In the way you see it, or the way you perceive it, or
how?
Yeah.
Who can tell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who can tell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same like I had once a long time ago experience with mushrooms, and I don't know if you.
I know the stories. But
yeah. And as well, you see a really fluid kind of reality.
Yeah.
And of course they say, you're hallucinating. Yeah. But maybe we are hallucinating all the time.
Yeah.
And that hallucination can change.
Yeah.
Like everything can change. Because this is how your mind is.
It's still interesting. Huh? Let's go back to that there's no one objective world, and you perceive another world than I perceive it. Could we also say that outside of this room there is no world at this moment?
Yeah, we could, for example, we talked when we drank some tea,
we
had a coffee, we talked about our children.
Yeah.
Are they existing now?
No. Yeah, as a memory or
whatever.
As a picture.
Yeah. So that's where we have to start.
Yeah.
We cannot prove that they exist.
No.
Except in our memory.
Yeah. And for that we have to do an action. Let's say take the phone and call them.
Yeah. Then they appear in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
The phone appears.
Yeah.
The so-called I. Phoning appears. The so-called daughter.
Yeah.
Or in my case sons.
Yeah.
They appear. But it's all moon in water. It's all rainbow-like.
Yeah.
It comes and goes.
It's a great way. It brings back again that happiness you talk about.
Yes.
Immediately,
yeah. So it is totally effortless.
Yeah. It reminds me of that scene in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? Where also the woman looks to the left, and on the right the whole world starts disappearing.
Yeah, it's something like that.
The blocks go away, and she looks to the right, and the left side, everything.
I think they visualized it greatly.
Yeah.
I think that it is what we talked about. Of course, we think our children exist, but it's like this. Like you make them.
Yeah, I make like this gesture.
Like this. Yeah, for the camera.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really It's really breathtaking looking at this.
Yeah, I'm totally agree. I have not really goose, but I have that tickling.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this is happening in this conversation, and it's really it fills my heart with joy. And it's I think this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel so happy that things are not solid.
Yeah.
It makes us free. It makes us happy.
Yeah.
I totally feel connected. Not from an island here, an island there, but we're on the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's only one mind.
Mm.
It's easy.
It makes it playful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so serious. I used to take life so serious.
I do too. In my conditioned way.
Yeah.
We are really serious. Yeah.
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 And that's what I was taught also from my dad. Still hear that voice inside my head saying, you know, life is hard. You have to work hard. It's serious business, that life.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We have about 10 more minutes, and also time is just, you know, it doesn't feel like we're talking for 51 minutes.
No, I thought we are really just what's 1 minute or hours.
Yeah. One thing that non-duality people love to talk about always is that damn free will. You know, is there place for free will inside this? And that still also amazes me how things go, how you're now sitting, how we're now talking, where the words come from.
Yeah.
Do you have any answer to that?
I think it's a very difficult subject if we really go into a kind of analysis. For what really, how I work with that is that free will, where does it appear? Mm-hmm. In your mind. Mm. So free will is like a moon in water.
Again. Yeah.
Again. Because everything is like that. Of course, no free will also appears in your mind.
So what's the difference?
There is no really a difference.
No.
On that level. And that's the level I like to work with. Hmm. But of course, for example, you don't know about it, but I have a big knife in my pocket and I will take it out right now and stab you.
Like in the 100?
Yeah, something like that. So you could say I have a free will to do that. I also could decide, like you told me, I could offer you to stay a weekend in my house. So I can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so I think we are really free to do that. But of course, the freedom is limited because we are also very conditioned.
Yeah.
For example, there was a decision we made together to be here at this day. We talk, okay, we meet each other at 2 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So that was a decision we make out of free will.
Yeah.
But you can see, that was I think 2 weeks ago, you can see there was a lot of happening in between, yeah, which is influencing it. Yeah. And it's really amazing. It's actually it's a miracle that it's happening. There could be a lot of things in your life or my life which has changed this.
Yeah. And which has influenced this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The things you saw on TV, the things you read.
Exactly. And it influenced this conversation and everything else. And it goes even further. Everything that you in your so-called life happened brought you on this point.
Yeah.
Of course, there were choices you thought you make aware, but I think there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what is going on.
Life brought me here.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But of course, this is a little bit lower approach, because when we say, for example, everything is your mind. Everything appears
Yeah.
in your mind.
Then I never moved.
As your mind, you never moved. It's just your mind who changes all the time.
It changes all the scenarios.
Yes, yes. So there is no starting point.
Yeah. So this discussion about free will, it brings you back into, as you say, a lower level, or a level of, it's still concrete and there's still a person doing things or doing no things, and yeah.
And I think because we are all within this, how do you say? In Buddhism they have a word,
Maya?
Samsara.
Samsara, yeah.
And that means cyclic existence.
Yeah.
So, and as long as we are trapped in that, because we think I exist in the way it appears, the world exists in the way it appears, of course there we have also a little bit of will, free will, or maybe not so free will, and we make decisions all the time. But those decisions are not made on an island.
Yeah.
Those decisions is influenced by the total related field, which is your mind.
Yeah. It all influences each other.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Yeah. It's almost like a dance. I'm imagining a great dance floor.
That's great.
A big dance floor.
Yeah.
Everybody is like dancing together, but you move in a way that corresponds with the other people dancing. So
it's the dance of enlightened mind.
Great title for this interview. Dance. Yeah. So it's very nice talking to you again.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it very much.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about this conversation, and we can only hope that people who watch this
get a taste
and feel the same happiness, because that's why we do this, to inspire people, and I hope, because that's one thing we cannot go for this kind of happiness only for ourselves.
No.
We have to do it for everybody.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I can be really happy, and I know it's a little bit contradict to what what we spoke about, but that's how I feel about it. And there's an I who feels it, in the mind, of course.
Yeah.
But I feel that we have to help each other to find this permanent happiness and this permanent freedom, because we are all, and I'm the biggest one, we are all confused. And how great is it if we all awake, and then we come back to the term awakening, how great is it if every sentient beings, not only people, but even the bacteria in your body, they have Buddha mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the smallest animals, even
insects, plants.
Every sentient being has Buddha mind. How great it is that everybody awakens.
Yeah.
That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. People in Holland who want to get in touch with you, do you often give talks in Holland?
I give. They can go to my website. I think you will put it on the.
Yeah.
If we have a little bit of time,
of course.
Because I have a great teacher, Hans Knibbe, and my core business is a business, but my path is being orientation, zijnsoriëntatie, but it's not a good English translation, called being orientation. And it is rooted in the Tibetan Buddhism, like Dzogchen and also Mahamudra. And it has also great Western insights. So I'm really grateful for my teacher, Hans Knibbe, who pointed out the nature of mind, what we talked about today. And I'm also very grateful to the Tibetan teachers I know who pointed this out. So I offer this in my workshops, in my retreats, in sessions.
One-on-one?
One-on-one.
Yeah.
So I offer it there because I think I'm so excited about this. And as I said, it's not something from me. It's in everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm really, if people are really interested, I really like to help them to pointing to their nature of mind.
Yeah.
And I hope we can do that with this interview too.
Yeah. I'm guessing that people got touched by this the way I got touched with this. There's a Dutch interview with it. You can listen to it or find it on iTunes and YouTube. You were planning a retreat in a foreign country?
Yes. First time in Ibiza. It's a small retreat, but it's in English. So if we have English viewers who doesn't understand Dutch, maybe it's interesting for them. They can details also on the website. It's in Ibiza, and I was in Ibiza a few months ago, and it's really great energy. I did some meditations there, and wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know it. I didn't know it, but Ibiza, the island is a crystal.
Oh.
And it's really, you have of course the party scene, but the Ibiza is really great nature, and we will go into nature, and it has great energy. They're small, not really mountains, but it's also, how do we say?
Rocky. Yeah.
And it's a really great island.
Okay.
And so I will in November do a retreat over there too. Yeah.
And for people who want to get in touch with the school of Hans Knibbe, it's mostly situated in Utrecht?
That's in Utrecht.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in the middle of the Netherlands. And your website is michaelsteinau.nl. It's your name with .nl on the.
No, my website is Zijn en Worden, but it's difficult.
Yeah,
it's being and becoming on
in Dutch,
in English.
But I'm guessing if people Google your name, they will find it.
Yeah, they will find it.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, Michael. Thanks again for this great talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.